One of the great parts of the Bible is the creation story. And we know that in Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. And that Hebrew word for create is something that can be discussed. There's definitely the sense that God did create what we call ex nihilo, out of nothing. But there's a sense in which the word bara, which is the Hebrew word for create, means to order things. In other words, it takes things that are not ordered or things that don't have function and then orders it, creates it to where it does function. And it does appear in the reading of Genesis 1 that the original creation was a disorderly creation. In other words, it was somewhat chaotic in some ways. There was no life, there was no way for people to live, there was no order to what was going on. And it appears that what God does as He creates the world in the book of Genesis is He takes things that don't have function and He creates function. He takes things that are more chaotic and without life and brings life. And that's so like God. He takes our lives and does the same thing. He moves us from a disorderly place before we meet Him to starting to order our lives to where they become something significant and they become workable. Which brings me to the text, and it's in chapter 2, and it's in verse 2. It says, "On the seventh day, God finished with His work that He had done, and He rested." I think oftentimes when we think of rest, we think of Him taking a nap or, sort of getting caught up in heaven and, getting some shut-eye. That's not the way that word is used in the Old Testament. It's actually the absence of chaos. In other words, if we have all kinds of problems going on in our life, we're not at rest. We're at chaos. But when things get put together in order, we become at rest. That's why in the Ten Commandments, the first 3 are our relationship with God. The last 6 are our relationship with people. But sandwiched right in between is the Sabbath to rest. If we're not at rest, we're not going to love God and love people the way that we should. So today, why don't you take a moment and ask the Lord to give you rest in areas of your life that are chaotic? Because what you'll find is the same Creator God that functioned and brought order to the world wants to do that in our lives. So take some time today and ask Him to do that, and you will find that God is not only just the Creator God of the universe, but He creates in our lives as well.